and you're going to lie over it. The butt is on the ground. The blanket comes up to just behind the sacrum, flush against the back. Puff your chest open and just lie back. Make sure that the rolled blanket, the makeshift pranayama pillow, is along the spine. Make sure that your sit bones are on the ground, not on the blanket. And if your head's too tilted back, reach back overhead. Reach back overhead, grab the back edge of the blanket and roll it in and under your head for a pillow. And this will help just lift your chin just slightly. And then close your eyes, soften your breath, soften your mind. Such a beautiful day to practice. Our focus today, Mary Ellen and I practiced this last week, is called Adama Swasa. It's the lower belly breathing. So place your hands over, just below your navel center. Place your hands below your navel center, palms down. Middle fingers touch. The rest of the fingers are spread wide. Palms are down. Middle fingers touch just below the belly button, the navel center. And you're going to breathe into that space. Adama Swasa. Lower belly breathing is so beneficial for back health. So I taught a class at the Healing Gardens, and a woman came up to me afterwards, and she said she doesn't get much relief for her low back, and she never is able to lay on the backside to where her low back releases to the ground. And she wanted to know what I did to help her release her back. So we did a lot of Adama Swasa Pranayama. So you're going to have a soft belly here, and you're going to inhale to the count of 4. So when the middle fingers separate on the inhalation, there's this natural rhythm of breathing. And at the exhalation, at the very bottom, you're going to engage the pelvic floor, known as the root lock, Mula Bandha. You're going to hug it in and up. And then you're going to exhale and release it. And inhale back, releasing with a soft belly. And try to create this natural rhythm of breathing. Oh yeah, totally. Got some yogis in the house today. This is so nice. So as you inhale to the count of 4, feel how the middle fingers separate. I'm going to just lift your head up, and I'm going to tuck the back edge in and then lay it back. The other head's lifted.
Oh yeah.
So now you're able to not pull into the mind because you're softening, and now the breath can hopefully flow a little more freely. At the bottom of the exhalation, engage the root, the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha, and try to pull it up into the navel lock, pulling the belly button up and back and up. Almost like underneath, like a vacuum under the rib cage. This is known as Uddiyana Bandha. So when you're doing pranayama breath work, this is considered a hard belly when you're engaging into the locks with the breath practice. But if you're aware of how the body's interacting with the breath, you'll notice that the lower back is protected when you have a hard belly. You'll notice that maybe there's even a release in the lumbar region of your back. If you have a soft belly, it doesn't heighten that aspect of the lower back. So Adama Swasa Pranayama consists of inhalation through both nostrils into the lower lungs. When practiced with a soft abdomen, this pranayama creates a balloon-like expansion in the lower abdominal cavity. So without engaging the locks, notice how now you can expand the lower abdomen like a balloon on the inhalation, and maybe even it goes and trickles into the rib cage, the sideways. And when you exhale, you're absorbing into the breath. But when you have a hard belly, This optimizes the drawing down of the diaphragm. And the lateral expansion, the lowest floating ribs, which supports the fullest possible breath in the lowest portion of the lungs. So if you're struggling with respiratory issues as we enter into fall and maybe you have allergies, asthma, you get a cold, this breath practice helps strengthen the lower lungs. Or if you had COVID during the pandemic, or even you had it recently, this is also a really good breath practice to help strengthen maybe what was weakened. Adama means lower and refers to the lowest part of the torso and the lowest portion of the lungs. Adama also refers to that which is stable and primordial, which are qualities cultivated by this breath practice. And swasa means breath, and also refers to the life force energy, which we know as prana, which both encompasses and transcends the physical breath. Therefore, the breath and flow of subtle energy that cultivates stability and grounding in the lowest part of the lungs and torso are more globally spread throughout our entire being. This balloon-like expansion, this is my favorite part about Adama Swasa, reminds us of the rounded belly of the elephant deity Ganesh. Ganesh is my favorite deity. This pranayama evokes Ganesh's qualities of safety, protection, security, and primordial being. So if you're feeling like you need a little bit of protection or somebody standing behind you and breathing into Adama Swasa, feel Ganesh's strength to the remover of the obstacles, whether you go around that obstacle to carry on your path or you move and break through the obstacle. Even going around the obstacle with Ganesh is just like breaking through. Sometimes you don't have to keep banging your head into the same wall. That's okay, you can move around it. So now we want to allow our breath to come back to its natural rhythm. Inhaling and exhaling. And throughout our practice today, try to incorporate this Adama Swasa, this lower abdominal breathing. Bring your hands to your heart center, and let's create an intention for our practice today. Maybe feel a sense of increased circulation. Maybe feel the parasympathetic nervous system was activated, optimizing the functioning of the enteric nervous system, which encompasses the digestive system, supporting the release of serotonin and also supporting immunity. So creating your intention here, your sankalpa. Breathe into it maybe 3 times, repeating it behind your closed eyes. And then let's dedicate our practice to those less fortunate today, those who feel lost, who are struggling, those who are trying to make it, those who are trying to recover from the world shutting down, especially our young folk, especially our young children, both super young, adolescents, teenagers, young adults. And we'll repeat that to ourselves 3 times. And then we'll gently say the words namaste, namaste, honoring ourselves with loving kindness today. Hug your knees towards your chest. Please place your feet on the ground and roll off your pranayama blanket. Move it off to the side and come to a seated position. Now for me, because I have a tight hips today, I'm going to just sit on my rolled blanket so that my hips are lower than my knees are lower than my hips. I'm going to stretch my legs out in front of me and just kind of move the knees and massage the knees. Now we're going to go into Sukhasana, easy seated pose. You're going to cross at the mid shin, right leg on the top, and then you're going to bring the feet in, and they're stacked underneath the knees. If you have a hard time, if there's any pulling, that's where you would sit up on a height. We're going to inhale, bring the right arm outside of the right hip, lift the left arm up, palm in, draw the whole upper arm bone in, alongside the face, tuck your chin underneath your underarm. If you're having a hard time with your neck today, gaze down at your thumb, your right thumb, and the arm's just moving straight out from the hip. Push the right palm into the earth to fire up the rib cage. Bend the top arm, bring the hand behind the head, and push your head back into space. Notice how that opens up under the arm. We're firing up and stimulating the lymphatic system. Chin can be tucked underneath the underarm or gaze down. Reach down and away through the left kneecap. Down and away through the left kneecap. Try to breathe into Adama Swasa, the lower abdominal breath here. Inhaling to the count of 4. And exhaling to the count of 4. Reach up through the left arm, come back up to center. Let's switch sides. Bring the left palm outside the left hip, slide it away. Turn the whole palm open, the right palm, reach it up to the sky. Walk the left arm over and try to keep that right hip down, reaching down through the right kneecap. Bend the top arm, put the hand behind the head and push your head back into space. Push into the left palm, maybe even going on the fingertips. Rotate the chin and tuck your chin into your underarm of the top arm. And just try to expand through that sideways. Inhaling and exhaling through Adama Swasa, lower abdominal breathing, if you're able to. Inhale, reach the right arm up, lift up through center. Extend the arms long into a T, horizontal stretching. I love your shirts. Be kind, and you have more than a multivitamin. Reach through the fingers, especially through the ring and middle finger, and just try to fire up your shoulders to your elbows to your wrists. So the whole arm's working. Push the palms so the fingertips point up. Push through the bottom palm. Spread the thumb wide. It's really good if you work with your hands a lot. Really bringing your fingers towards the back of the shoulders, reaching the fingertips towards the shoulders, and then push the fingertips down. Extend back to the fingertips. We're going to go into eagle arms, the right arm's underneath. Hug yourself first. Glue your elbows like a mouth. Broaden your shoulders into your hands, and then extend the forearms up towards the sky. Try to keep your elbows glued. Palm to palm, or you could just hold your thumb. Soften here through the face. Reach down through the outer hips and the outside of the feet. Lift up through the pit of the belly. Inhale, tuck the elbows towards the chest and round into a cat stretch, tucking the chin to follow, rounding through the upper back and the middle rib cage. Pull the navel towards the spine. Inhaling, opening up into a cow tilt, tilting through the lower tailbone, the lower back, opening the throat. Exhale, rounding. Really feel the movement in the spine here. Feel the elbows gluing in towards the chest. Feel all the tightness that maybe you have inside of you. Inhaling back up and open. Come back to center. Take your arms, your elbows over to the right. Ribs to the left. Elbows to the right, ribs to the left. Tilt your left ear to your left shoulder. This always feels so good to me. It's like the tendency is the ribs want to follow the arms as the elbows are glued to the right. Move the ribs to the left. Bring the head back up to center and then the elbows. Spread your wings. Open up to the heavens. And now your left arm's on the bottom. Feel the hug into your body. Maybe breathing into Adama Swasa. Glue the elbows together and then lengthen the forearms to the sky. Really broaden through the outer shoulders. This is called protraction, moving the shoulders off the spine wide. From here, exhale, rounding. Inhaling, opening up. Lift the elbows as high up as you can. Throw it up. Keep the shoulders off the ears. Come back to center for a minute and see if, without using your hands, if you could switch your feet. Very good, ladies. Inhaling, opening up. Elbows up to the sky. Exhaling, rounding. Really let it out. Maybe even let out a sigh. Again, inhaling up. Exhale, rounding. Coming back to center. Taking the elbows now to the left. Keep them glued. Keep the forearms glued. Turn the ribs to the right. And tilt your right ear to your right shoulder. Draw your shoulders down your back. There you go. Especially that right one. I know. I see it like bunched up. Maybe take the focus on the top side, on the left side of the ear, on the throat here, and just feel it moving down. The outer neck, I should say. Inhale back up to center with the arms and the head and open up. Bring the hands down to the earth. Take your right hand over your head and reach the top of your ear and just draw the ear over to the right as you pivot your ear to the right. Inhale back up to center, switch sides. Reach over to the right earlobe, the top of the ear, I should say, and just gently tug, gently pull, opening up now the senses of hearing, which is ear and space, and reach all the way away now with the right fingertips. Lift the hand off the earth and just reach away, and then play around with rotating that right hand a little bit, getting into the nitty-gritty of any areas of concern. Bring the hand back down. Let's do it one more time. To the left, just so we can lift the arm up. Lift the fingertips just about less than an inch. And rotate the palm. In and out. Or maybe you just want to keep reaching. Come back to center. Let's massage our neck. Take a karate chop hand and just massage the skin. This is going to be really beneficial as we change into fall season, the season of fall. And then do the other side. The season for fall, the oil to use would be almond oil. And then use both hands. And then bring your thumbs to the outside of the nose. And then just roll open, massaging the sinuses on the bony part of the eye. Not on the soft tissue, but the bone of the upper cheek. And then go overhead. Inhaling and maybe exhaling as you open up into the temples. And then release the hands. We're going to come onto all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to bring our right foot out to the side, toes pointing forward. Try to have the arch variation too lined up with the kneecap, but that's okay if you're not there. Sometimes it comes naturally. We're going to do thread the needle with our leg out to the side. So bring our left hand now underneath our chin and follow with your eyes, opening the right arm up towards the sky. And then exhale and thread the needle through. If you can't go all the way down to the ground with your right shoulder, take a block underneath the shoulder. Use your left hand underneath your elbow. Left hand underneath the elbow and push into the earth for the rotation. Inhaling and exhaling, really feel the lift through the right inner thigh. Don't dump here. See if you can breathe into Adama Swasa with a hard belly. Engaging Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. Maybe keep the engagement of Uddiyana Bandha and Mula Bandha throughout the whole breath rhythm of Adama Swasa. The in-breath and the out. Inhale back to center. Reach up high, 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 high. And bring that right hand now down underneath your chin. If it's too low for you, your hand can go on a block. And now we're going to do the reverse, thread the needle. Inhale now the left arm up towards the sky. Notice how you're more limited with the mobility, and then thread the needle through. Bring your right hand underneath your right elbow and push into the ground. The right toes are facing forward. And push into that outer side of the pinky foot of the right leg. Inhale back up to center. We're going to switch sides. Take the left leg out to the side. Pause here for a minute. Notice if you're dumping or lifting up through your hips. Very nice. We're going to inhale now, bring the right hand underneath the chin and follow the left arm all the way up to the sky. Reach. Exhale, thread the needle through. If you can't get your left shoulder on the ground, place it on a bolster or a block. Push down with the right palm. Inhale and exhale into Adama Swasa with a hard belly. Notice how the breath goes into the back body if you have your engagement of the hard belly with Mula and Uddiyana Bandha. Come back to center. Take your right hand underneath, take your left hand underneath your chin. Inhale, bring the right arm up towards the sky or out to the side, and then thread through. You can always reach down overhead. It feels easier on some bodies. Oh, really? On that side, on both sides, or that side?
Just my left.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if that was because of my shoulder or if that's just not coordinating.
It could be because of your shoulders at your bad shoulder. Yeah. So inhale and exhale. Now inhale, come back up to center. And we're going to do a shoulder stretch now that one of the students mentioned it. So let's just lay on our left side before we move along. And we're going to take our left arm 90 degrees perpendicular out from the shoulder is the elbow. So I'm on my left side. My right arm is straight out as if I was to form a T, but I'm going to bend the forearm up. So you might want to look my way if you're not sure. I'm going to take my right hand to the back side of my left forearm, and I'm gently, gently, gently going to bring the forearm down to the ground only as far as I can go. This is so good for shoulder issues. If you're struggling with your head, because you don't want to be gripping in your head, you can rest your head on the block. So the focus is more on this whole rotator cuff area. Palm is flat, whether it's in the sky, hovering. So this is good for golf swings, good for making jewelry, good for knitting, good for anything, mowing the lawn. And with your breath, if you soften through your body and give yourself a deep exhalation, like almost letting out a sigh, you're releasing the arm a little bit more deeply. Eventually hoping to get the forearm down to the ground. Let's switch sides. If you struggle with any type of shoulder issues, I highly recommend doing this. So notice I'm not leaning too far back. I'm literally mostly almost like leaning a little forward on my right side. My knees are stacked. Take my left arm, palm over the top of the forearm. Make sure the elbow is perpendicular to the shoulder and gently just go down. So you don't want the elbow lower than the shoulder, like that. Want it at least in alignment with the shoulders, not slightly above. And just focus on your breath. Eventually, if you're able to let your head hover, you're going to engage through the neck a little bit and keeping the head in alignment with your spine. Inhale now, let out a deep sigh. It'll vary where you feel it. I feel it in my upper arm. Now inhale, release that. Good. Now let's come on to all fours once again. Notice the difference? It was good, right? And if it's not good, you need to do it more. Yeah. My son, my Mr. Personal Trainer, he showed me that. Hands underneath shoulders. I love that he's like, so exciting. I just need him to find a good job though. Anyway, so roll the eyes of the arms for eyes of the elbows forward. Eyes of the elbows, instead of facing each other, roll them forward. We're going to go into like a puppy dog. Bring the forehead down to the ground, then the nose, and if you can, the chin and chest. If you can't get the chest down, you'll take your block underneath your chest. Roll the eyes of the elbows forward, bend the elbows back, bring the chest to the block, and then the forehead, or maybe you want to practice reaching the chin. The butt lifts up, the knees are underneath the hips. So maybe you're in this position, walking the hands back a little bit, pinning the elbows back. It's hard, I know. But we got to learn to open up our bodies. And eventually you'll move the block down more towards the abdomen so that you can get the chest a little bit more forward. We'll work on that as weeks progress.
Where you're hitting it here, the block here.
Well, I'm hitting since if you're really busty, then put the block on the second height so that it'll go between the boobs and move it down more towards the rib cage. It's going to feel uncomfortable. So we could work on actually maybe using a blanket instead or a bolster. So I'll show you with the bolster. So everybody grab a bolster. So it'll be a little softer on our girlfriends. So I'm just gonna lean over. Actually, I would like to make it vertical. Make it vertical. Knees to the outside of the bolster. Eventually moving the chin forward. So even scoot more forward and go onto your knees just like you would in tabletop. So bend your knees completely. So just like tabletop is the lower half of the body. And then bend your elbows towards the ribs and then the chest. Yes. All right, let's all come up into tabletop. I can tell that is not a liked position. So let's go into downward dog. Move the bolster away. And let's just stretch long through down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pin the whole upper arm bone in towards the face. Pin the whole upper arm bone in towards the face. Broaden the upper back like we did in eagle arms, protracting the shoulders off the spine. See if you could breathe into Adho Mukha here. With a hard belly or soft, you pick. A hard belly is going to teach you to breathe into the back of the body a little bit more than the front. So when you're in a compressed pose, you're still able to breathe fully. Bend the knees, look forward, but don't move the body forward. So watch what I'm doing. I'm going to bend my knees. I'm going to look forward and just lift my collarbones, lifting my collarbones up as if they're reaching towards my thumbs. This is opening up the upper back. Exhale, let's bring our big toes together, sit back in Balasana. Bring the arms alongside the shins, and let's breathe into Adama Swasa. Notice with a soft belly, you feel the compression of the abdomen pushing into the thighs. This helps to regulate digestion. And the big toes touching helps to calm the central nervous system. Just the outer edges of the big toes, they're not crossed over each other. Let's try to breathe into a hard belly Adama Swasa. Notice the difference of what happens in the back body, especially the lumbar and the sacrum. Engaging Mula Bandha, the root lock, then Uddiyana Bandha, the navel lock. Notice how all of a sudden the body opens up a little bit more on the back side. See if you can maintain the hard belly for both the in and out breath. Inhale, reach the arms overhead, look forward. Exhale, lift the hips up, tuck the toes under, back into down dog. We're going to bring the feet together. Inhale, extend the right leg up towards the sky and stack the right hip on top of the left. Square off your shoulders, bring the right armpit towards the ground, towards the earth. I'm going to come around and adjust. Spreading wide through your hands, push down through the mound of the oh, that's your bad hand, sorry.
This one I can.
Push down there.
Okay. Can I borrow the wall?
Yes. If you're by the wall, and then turn your hip open, foot sideways on the wall. That's okay. So if you're struggling with your hands, different positions would be to be on top of your fists. Wrists are straight. Or another one that I really like is I like just being on my forearms, fists down, legs up, almost like a dolphin pose. It's a little bit easier for me to manage if I have a sore wrist. Okay, so let's try it on the other side. So pick your arm position if you want to be on your forearms or your fists. Go into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, bring your feet together. Exhale. Inhale, lift the left leg straight up. Really kick through the heel, flex through the toes. When you're ready, stack left hip over right, pin the right outer hip in, and swivel your left shoulder down towards the ground. Your left armpit is reaching towards the ground. Try to bend the top knee this time and try to kick your butt. Reach the top knee, the left knee away, very long. Opening up the hip flexors. If you're able to, gaze underneath your left armpit. Keep the head back to center. Square off your hips. Bring the feet down. Sit back into child's pose, Balasana. If you want to sit back into puppy dog, Shisosasana. You can bring your chin and chest down instead of Balasana, child's pose. Anchor down through whatever is touching the earth is your foundation. We're going to come back down into up, downward dog. Exhaling into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Reach the right leg straight back, not up towards the sky, but straight back. Look forward, bring the knee to the chest, hovering into plank position, and then bring the right foot down in front. Your arms are framing. Bring the back knee down into a low lunge. And just take a few breaths. If you need a break, you can just hang your head in the low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Otherwise, more muscular action, reach the arms overhead. Push down evenly through the ball mounts of the front foot, more strongly into the mound of the big toe. Bring your palms together. Bind the fingers in, but point the pointer finger up. Kali Mudra. Hug the inner arms, pinning them in towards the face. Exhale, bring your left hand inside your left foot to the floor. Rotate the right arm up towards the sky, just like we did in thread the needle, but now we're in a twist. Yep, and then rotate towards the dining room. Variation 2 is to tuck the back toes under and lift the back leg, back knee up. Beautiful, Mary Ellen. Stay where you feel you could breathe into Adama Swasa. Inhaling into the lower abdomen. Exhaling into the lower abdomen. One more time, inhale into the lower abdomen. Exhale. Bring the right hand inside the right leg. Bring the back knee down if it's lifted. We're going to go into lizard pose, Uttana Prasthasana, stretching out our story, stretching out the book. What do you want your story to look like? Do you want to feel collapsed or do you want to feel open? Do you want to feel strong? Do you want to feel weak? Do you want to feel happy or do you want to feel sad? So while the palms are down, push down into them. If you have a hard time with getting the elbows down to the ground, you're going to place your 2 blocks inside the foot so that the wrist, the bottom of the wrist, lines up with the heel of the foot. If I go down, I use the inner elbow first. I'm going to line up the elbow with the heel of the foot, whether I'm on blocks or on the floor. And then I'm going to turn my right toes out to the side and open up my right knee. So step 1, palms flat. Step 2, use the right arm first, bring it down, aligning the elbow with the heel, palms together. And just like the lizard, you're reaching your collarbones forward and the throat forward. Turn your right toes out to the side and open up your right knee out to the side. Reach back with what's touching the earth, the back leg, reach back with it. Come out, right arm, palm down, left arm, palm down. You can hop switch sides, or you can slowly move into the left leg coming forward into a lunge. Hop switch, or step back and bring the left foot forward. So low lunge first. If you want to hang your head for a minute, catch up with your breath. Maybe you want to hang your head and practice breathing into Adama Swasa. I'm really liking the hard belly variation of Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha. I feel like I get a fuller breath, especially when I'm in a forward fold position like this. If you want to extend your arms overhead into Kali Mudra, pin the upper arm in towards the face, reach the throat forward and up. Push down to the back shin, into the back ankle, into all 5 toenails on the back foot. Engage the right buttocks. Look it in. Exhale, bring the right arm now down inside the right foot. You can always go on a block too. We're going to open up the arm. Left leg's forward, yes.
Our left hand.
Right arm down.
No? We did right last time.
Oh, put your right arm on the block, right hand on the block, yes. Because we're gonna open up out to the side of the front leg, yes. And then feel how that right hip wants to pop out, left hip wants to pop out, pin it in, left hip in. Keeping me on my toes. No, I love it. After how I felt the last 2 days, I'm feeling alive. Exhale now, bringing both hands inside the left foot, maybe on blocks, maybe on the floor. Let's lift our back knee up for a second. So tuck your back toes under and lift the knee up into like a higher lunge. Try not to spill forward. Beautiful, very nice. Instead of reaching the collarbones forward. Pause here and see if you can breathe into Adama Swasa. Can you feel the ease of your breath? Or is there a challenge to breathe into Adama Swasa? What does it feel like to engage Mula Bandha and then Uddiyana Bandha when you're in a lunge position such as this, where you're not reaching too far forward into the future? And you're releasing through the past of the back leg. Now bring the knee back down. And now let's go into the lizard. Elbow lined up with the heel. So you can even have your blocks higher if you need them. Remember. I just think it's important that we challenge ourselves. So I always move from the inner arm first, because if I was to bring the outside arm down, it's a little easier. We want to have the right position of the rotation of the ribs. Palms can come together. Walk your back foot back, far back as it can go, and then turn your left toes out so that the toe points up to the upper corner of your mat. Don't turn it out too much or too little. And then allow that left kneecap to roll open. We store so much emotional angst in our hips because we carry the world on our shoulder, but we carry our relationships in our pelvis. And it's a relationship that we have with each other, but also, how do I feel about myself and my relationship with myself? Am I comfortable being alone with myself, or do I always want to flee? Tuck your back toes under while you're in this position and try to lift the back knee up. But try not to move too far back or too far forward. Feel the collarbones broadening. Feel your story expanding through the back body in Adama Swasa with a hard belly. Adama Swasa with Mula Bandha and then Uddiyana Bandha. Bring the left foot flat to the ground again. Pin the knee in. Frame your front foot with your hands and either step back into child's pose or downward facing dog. Wherever you're at, feel the breath. Spread your fingers wide. Turn your hands in a little bit like that. Yeah, anchor down really here. Yeah. Inhale and then feel the lift. Yes! Oh my God, Lori. You're growing. And just try to soften back here. So instead of gripping here, really feel your inner thighs doing the work as the inner thighs contract back. Engagement. Hug the block. Bring your feet a little more narrow. Yeah. Notice the difference if I put the blocks here or here. All right. If you're in downward dog or child's pose, go into downward dog, everyone. And we're going to walk our feet to our hands with the blocks between your thighs. As I put in one of the students, you can just let it drop to the ground. Look forward, go on your tiptoes. Try to keep your hands as flat as they can stay, trying to get all the way up with your feet between them. Slightly micro bend on the knees once you're there, and let's hang in a ragdoll. If you're front belly breathing, a soft belly, notice what it feels like in your forward fold here, Uttanasana. Otherwise, engage into Mula Bandha, the root lock, hugging the perineum in and up, and then the navel lock. The navel back and sweep under the ribs and up. There's more space created for the fold. Tuck the chin in. Inhale, bring the hands on the hips, point the elbows up. Keep the chin tucked in and just push through the feet. The head comes up last. Reach the arms overhead. Let's go into a standing back bend. Bring the palms together. Bring the hands to your chest. Lift the chest up into the hands. As you reach the chest up towards the sky, the chin can stay tucked in, or if you're feeling safe, micro bend the knees. Reach the throat back. Anavittanasana. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, sweep the palms down, releasing any negativity. Fold over into forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up. Ardha Uttanasana, hands on the shins, push the chest forward, flat back. Hard belly, protecting the back, protecting the low back. If you're comfortable with the hard belly, you can lift your elbows up into goalpost, elbows up. Notice the difference. If it was soft, you'd be collapsing and hurting. Exhale back down, forward fold. Step back into plank, Palankasana. Lifting the collarbones up. You can either stay here and go into Chaturanga Dandasana, pinning the eyes of the elbows forward, roll over your toes, pin the elbows in and go down slowly. Or you can bring your knees down, lift your feet up, roll the eyes of the elbows forward, half plank, bend the elbows, nice and slow onto our bellies. Beautiful. How's everybody doing? Then bring the legs flat on the ground. And we're going to go into locust pose. I'm going to turn to my left hip, and I'm going to take my right arm underneath and my left arm, but I'm going to turn my fists together like this. So the thumb side of the fist is what's going to push into the ground. Okay, this is how my arms are going to look underneath my body. So when I roll back onto my hands, I'm walking my arms down towards my thighs, chin forward. Squeeze your elbows towards each other. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can go into variation 1, which our palms are down alongside the hips, like this. So this is variation 1. This is variation 2. I'm going to inhale now, reaching the chest forward. I'm going to lift the legs up. The legs can be bent, ankles crossed, feet together. I can't talk when I do it. And then release. Stack your palms underneath your chin. And rest your left cheek on the palms. We're going to do that one more time. Just breathe here. I'm going to show you to prepare with variation 1. I'm going to keep my forehead down, variation 1. Palms down, wrong side of the hips. Maybe I just lift one leg up. Reach. Then release that. And then the other. And reach. Maybe I'm comfortable, able to push down through my pubic bone. Lift the chest this time and the legs. And release. Rest the opposite cheek on the earth. We're going to go into a little sequence of cobra pose or sphinx pose in cobra with a nice little stretch. I'm going to bring my arms into sphinx pose, elbows underneath shoulders. It's really important the elbows are under the shoulders, so it gives you this momentum to bring the chest forward and up. I'm going to take my right knee and slide it up towards my right elbow and keep lifting up through the chest. And just like we did earlier with thread the needle, I'm going to lift through them. I'm going to push my palms to lift the chest higher if you're comfortable. If you need to keep your elbows down, do so. This is variation 2. Variation 3 is I'm going to take my left arm and I'm going to thread it through to the right onto the left shoulder, palm to palm. From here, I'm going to bring my right leg and stack it on top of my left. And then I'm going to bring my right foot behind my left leg. And I'm just going to roll that knee open. We're going to come back to center onto our bellies. Keep the right knee lifting up towards the elbow, sliding up. And now I'm going to thread the needle over to the left. So I'm going to take my right arm out to the side, thread it through. So now you're into this deeper twist. You can always take a block under your head or a bolster. It'll be so loosey-goosey by the time you leave my class today. Inhale back to center. Slide the right leg back down. Take your arms into a T and watch first if you're not used to what this twist encompasses. I'm going to rotate now onto my right side. Notice my arms in a T. So you're going to feel this, especially if you have tight shoulders. You can play around with the position of the arm. If the higher up, the more intense it is. The lower the arm goes, the easier it is. Trying to eventually work to get it straight out from the shoulder. Variation 2, I bring my left leg behind my right. Variation 3 is I bring the knees together, right and left. Stick with which variation works for you today. And if you're able to, variation 3.5, you lift the left arm up and reach it behind you. I'm going to tuck it behind me. Let's come back onto our chest. We'll do the other side. Inhale, roll arms out into a T. Roll onto your left hip now. Stacking the hips, variation 1. Variation 2, take the right leg behind the left leg. Right foot flat. Maybe you just want to stay here. Push down into the palm of the hand, both in the right palm and the left. Variation 3 is to bring the knees together, lifting the left knee up and connecting it to the right. And then 3.5 is to lift the arm up, bring it behind you. Eventually, the hands bind in Yoga Mudra. I'm not there yet. Beautiful, Lori. Beautiful, Sally. Inhale, releasing nice and slow, mindfully. We're going to roll onto our backs. We're winding down. I'd like to try to go into bridge into shoulder stand for those who want to try it. Otherwise, we're just going to do bridge. And let's do it muscularly today. So let's walk our feet in. Heels out. Big toes in. And just reach back for the heels. I didn't use the strap today, so I'll use it here. If you want to take the strap around the shins, you have something to hold on to. If you need to look my way, you can look my way. So I have the strap around the ankles or the shins so that I can focus on the lift of the chest into the bridge. I'm going to inhale now, push down through the feet, lift up through the thighs, roll my shoulders under my back. Palms are rolling open or holding the strap, or you could bind into yoga mudra. You could practice your bridge by pushing into your heels of your feet. Or if you want, you can bring your hands under your hips, lift one leg up and then the other, pushing the hands flat into the back for a shoulder stand. Really lift through the inner thighs and shoulder stand, pushing the heels back. Coming back down. Into bridge. Slowly coming out, releasing the shoulders. And then one vertebrae at a time through the tailbone. We're going to try that again. Choosing which variations you want. If you just want to work on bridge pose. You can take your strap around your ankles or your shins. Turn the heels out, toes in. You're going to inhale. And as you exhale, lift through the outer hips. Lifting through the pit of the belly. Yeah, tuck those shoulders under. Beautiful. The chest comes towards the chin. Inhaling. Maybe try to breathe into Adama Swasa here. Bridge pose is so good for digestive health. If ever you have food poisoning or a stomach flu, or your stomach's just off, go into a bridge. If you want to bring one leg up to the sky, and then the other. Yeah, just breathe. So the chest is moving towards the chin. Pushing down through the tops of the shoulders. Isometrically hugging your legs towards each other. Yes, so nice. And then we'll slowly come down, one vertebrae at a time. We're going to prepare for a delicious Shavasana. We'll use our bolster. And our strap and a blanket. We're going to take our blanket. It comes off my shelves like this. And that's going to go underneath my head. My head's going to go on this side. And if I'm comfortable, I'll reach over and roll the edge in for like a little neck roll for support. The legs. You're going to take your strap. Everybody okay? You're going to have your strap as wide as it can go, and you're going to bring it behind you and click it. So it's a loop that goes around your body. We're going to go into Supta Baddha Konasana bound angle. You could always just go into regular Shavasana if you want. This is just a little extra oomph. I'm going to take the buckle to the outside of the left foot, and I'm going to bring the strap underneath the feet together. Then I'm going to pull the strap as tight as I can go for my bound angle, for my Baddha Konasana. The strap is going to go over the sacrum, not the low back. So a good rule of thumb is it's straight over, actually pushing on the hip crease. It goes straight over the hip crease. So this is bound angle, Baddha Konasana. I'm going to place my feet on the bolster as I lay back. So you can lay back first and then lift the feet up and put it on the bolster, whatever works for you. If that's too much for you, just keep your feet on the floor. Have the blanket underneath the head. Closed edge. And this time, move the blanket up to the bony protrusion of C7. So where you have that bone that sticks out right at the top, the bottom of the neck, and the very top of the shoulders, that's C7. And support that bone with the blanket. Whether it's rolled up a little bit to support the neck, or it's just without the roll. A little bit more integrity in the shoulders here. Find comfort in your position. Let go of any breath rhythm that we've been incorporating today. No need to worry about pranayama, but just let the natural flow of the breath occur. I'm going to come around with a little stress release oil. If you don't want it, raise your hand. And I'll waft a little over the computer for you, Mary Ellen. So finding the breath here, the inhales and the exhales, giving you that permission to be present in Shavasana. The beauty of corpse pose is just that. It's beautiful. That's good. You asked me to work you.
Yes, again.
I love yoga because it detoxes. It detoxes on so many different levels, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And without clinging to the expectation of what is or what you want, it happens. And that's the beauty of a practice. You really don't need to know all these things that I'm teaching you. Eventually, they're taught to you through the practice. That's what I love about it. So as you inhale and exhale, feel the joys of the breath. Feel the ability to let go. Open the arms a little wider. Feel this prana coming through. Inhale and exhale and begin to imagine yourself lying on a beach. Picture the sounds of the waves as though you're laying on the beach. The sounds of the wave coming onto shore. Inhaling and exhaling. And with every exhalation, as the tide goes back out, picture your tides going back out. Your shadows, your samskaras, all that sediment of all the old patterns moving out and away. Feel new freshness of energy, of light, of love coming in through the breath. You feel the ocean and the water, as if you could sense it touching your toes, as the toes release heavily towards the earth, as the skin melts away with every exhalation. As the tide goes away, so does your tensions and your worries. As you give yourself permission to expand, as you give yourself permission to let go. Feel the ribs soften. And release through the lower back, the middle back, and the upper back. Feel the heart opening up to all that is and all that can be. As you inhale and exhale up and out through the crown of the head. For the next few moments, just breathe. Keeping your eyes closed, becoming aware of your physical space that you occupy. Gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Staying where you're at, or gently rubbing your palms together to create heat and warmth, and then placing those hands over your eyes to open your eyes into the warmth and darkness. Take a full breath in and a complete breath out. I'm going to read you a poem. Let go of something. Let go of something somewhere. Use yoga to become aware, to touch what lies beneath the surface of the skin. Is there tension, longing for release? A knot of fear so deep and familiar that you believe it's part of who you are? Ease into dark corners, locked rooms, unexplored hallways. Gain entry not by force or will, but only by softness. Enter on the wings of breath and turn the key of self-acceptance to let go of something, somewhere. Let go of something somewhere. Use yoga to become aware, to touch what lies beneath the surface of the skin. Is there tension, longing for release? A knot of fear so deep and familiar that you believe it's part of who you are? Ease into dark corners, locked rooms, unexplored hallways. Gain entry not by force or will, but only by softness. Enter on the wings of breath and turn the key of self-acceptance to let go of something, somewhere. Hug your knees towards your chest, releasing the bind of your strap. You can walk your feet out. You can find your way out that you're most comfortable. Removing, I put some sandbags on some students, remove the sandbags off to the side. And then roll on over to your left side in a fetal position and just pause briefly in this fetal position. Picture yourself as a newborn entering into the world. New beginnings of lightness, new beginnings of darkness, new beginnings of balance. And when you're ready, push yourself so the head comes up last. I'd like to chant the sound of Om to seal off this beautiful practice today in this space that we have to share in. You can join me if you wish. Sometimes it doesn't transfer the chanting through the microphone, I noticed, but you get that I'm going to be doing it. We're going to start with Ah, which is at the below into Adama Swasa. Ah is in the lower belly, and then U is this deliciousness that's building up in the whole rib cage and torso. And then is the taste of it out through the back of the throat and the mouth, almost like you're sprinkling it then around you and within you. And the beauty is this, that the ah and the should be of same length eventually. In order to get that like sound, you're closing off the glottis in the back of your throat, almost as if you're pulling your tongue back there. That's how you get that chanting sound of just through the back of the throat, if that makes sense. I don't know how to articulate it today. So on the second exhalation, we'll chant, or you could just join in the vibration. Take a deep breath in and a complete breath out. On the next exhalation, inhaling. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste.